Good morning, and thank you so much for joining me for Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. Today, we are talking about having a spirit-driven life with author Kathleen Calhoun. God is accessible to all those who seek him. Enter the chamber room of God as you are. One present moment with the eternal presence brings transformational power that cannot be acquired by our own strength, but through his grace. Heaven unleashes all its resources in order for us to live a victorious life and overcome anything that holds our soul captive. We enter the throne room of our Heavenly Father, and through the righteousness of Christ, we can claim all that the Son won for us on Calvary. Aren't those beautiful words? Well, that is our author, Kathleen Calhoun, and you can find her online at Spirit Driven by Choice. That's spiritdrivenbychoice.com. And, of course, if you're listening to this on one of the enhanced versions, you can simply click on the link and go directly there. If not, simply highlight, right-click, and go. We have a music selection brought to you today. I Hear His Whispers by Jason Weber. I Hear His Whispers by Jason Weber. His store is on CD Baby, and of course, his link is available here in the description. Well, without any further ado, let's go on and bring Kathleen on the line. Good morning, Kathleen.
Good morning.
How are you? Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that all is well with you this morning. Thank you so much for joining me on the show.
I'm very pleased to be here. Thank you, Dr. Angela.
Thank you. Now, what is the main theme of your book?
The main theme of the book is God's accessibility, God's love, unconditional love towards us, and God accepting us without judgment, without condemnation as we are. And so when we see ourselves through that love that is just eternal, we can come to him as we are in the storms of our life. So the main thing then would be that we walk into his presence, and it is a choice. It's not a feeling. It's being driven by the Spirit. And so we come to the presence of God, and we are able to position ourselves in his presence. And we can enter in fear. It's okay. We can enter in fear, but we are not going to stay in fear as we position ourselves in all who God is, all that God can supply in our storms of life, and we are empowered.
Mm-hmm. Now, how did you learn about the topic of stepping into the chamber room?
I want to first say that everyone's journey is unique, their journey towards the union of God. I saw it play in the lives of my parents. They were an example of faith in action. They had faith and they had an action, and the action was to do all that they could do and then let God be God. And so I saw that providential care, and that helped me to understand that God is accessible, and that his presence is real, and his word is true. And he promises not to leave us by ourselves, to walk through the storm with us and give us the strength and power. And I saw that through my parents.
Isn't it wonderful? I love how you say that you saw that through your parents, that it's so wonderful when we are able to, maybe in the moment as children, we don't necessarily recognize it, or we don't know what to call it. But as we get older, we're able to look back and see how awesome our parents have been in our lives and given us such a great example. I really, really love it. Well, listeners, we need to take a very short break, but when we get back, we will continue our conversation with our author, Kathleen Calhoun. We'll be back right after this.
Have you ever been stuck on the side of the road for hours waiting for a tow truck to get to you? Have you ever had to get towed to a local mechanic you don't know or trust? Motor Club of America is a different kind of roadside assistance that offers towing up to 100 miles to the shop of your choice. And they get you towed within 40 minutes of when you call. They also have emergency room, in-hospital coverage, and much more at very affordable rates. To find out more, go to motorclubofamerica.com/Elijah1. That's motorclubofamerica.com/ELIJA1 right now and experience a better way to do roadside assistance.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. My guest today is author Kathleen Calhoun. And, I apologize. Kathleen Lazardi Calhoun. As a fellow hyphenated last name woman, I understand the importance of including that. I meant no disrespect there. Please forgive me. Kathleen is a graduate of the University of California, Irvine, where she has earned her bachelor's degree in the area of social ecology. She also attended the National University, where she completed a Master's of Science in Education, as well as a teaching and administrative credential. She right now resides in Southern California with her husband, and both are involved in a small group leadership. Now, I love that, being involved in the community, being involved in your church, being just involved in life and making sure that you are doing your part to change the world. Now, Kathleen, I would like to ask you a little bit more about your book, and that is, are there any particular features of this book of yours of which you are the most proud? Is there any particular thing that you added in there that you really is special to you, perhaps?
Yes, actually, it's the way the table of contents are organized. There are 97 poems and lyrics, and it gives the title, but right after each title, there is a one sentence, one statement description. And so a person who is reading, and needs some hope, some encouragement, they can actually just read that little description and find their way to that poem or song that speaks to them best at that moment. And I really, truly appreciate how that is organized.
That sounds really nice. I like that. Now, how can Spirit Driven be relevant to the people that are listening in today? Now, we understand, of course, you're standing in the bookstore and people are captured by, either the font or the book cover. There's something about the book when they're able to see it in person. But just to the listeners now, what is something that would make it appealing to them?
I think what has been said to me, and that I'm learning more and more as readers are enjoying the book, is that we are seeking to change as a human being. We're seeking to be a better version of ourselves. We want to know how to be in that transformational process. And what I believe this book does is it takes the burden off of we trying to change ourselves, but draw into the power that is there for our accessibility to make those transformational changes in our mindset, our behaviors. And so we do become that person that we are called to be, so to speak. And so for change, it offers comfort and change and that improvement so that we can, like you said, go out and be, an impact in our community.
I really like that answer, and I don't think that many people understand how important it is to kind of feed yourself so that you can go out and assist others. We have to get back into the habit of just reading more and pouring into ourselves. And that's not just something, listeners, that, entrepreneurs do. And I know that I talk about entrepreneurship a lot, especially on social media. Entrepreneurs no, you have to read. You have to read. You're always, honing your craft. But I think that as just individual people, just as human beings, we need to hone our spirits. We need to be able to just refresh our spirits and read more. That's going to really pour something that's creditable and biblical into our day-to-day lives. Now, how is your book Spirit Driven unique in the matter when it approaches the topic of living the life of transformation, or as something, a transformational lifestyle? How does it address that? Or how is it unique in that it approaches that?
The transformational aspect here is to go to Him who loves us and loves us too much to let us stay in our limiting thinking, our mindset that may be holding us back. And so, as promised in Romans 12, God will change the patterns of our mind so that we can be more in alignment with God's point of view, God's perspective. And also, too, with this transformation is we will see the transformation happen and our mindset change when we are in the midst of storms. They don't break us. But what happens now is that we see God as larger than this storm. We see God with us in this storm, whatever the storm may be, relational, economic, unfairness with a career. God is with us in the midst. And so God will bring all to good, and we'll prosper us, but there's a change in us. We are stronger in Him. And so that's where the transformation is. I think it's a surrender versus a trying to figure it out on our own.
I like that. Instead of trying to figure it out on our own. I love it. Well, listeners, it's time to take another short break, but when we get back, we will continue this conversation with our author, Kathleen Calhoun. The song that you are about to hear is I Hear His Whispers by Jason Weber. We'll be back right after this. And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Modern Living with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Chester. Today we are talking about Spirit Driven, and I absolutely love it that we need to learn how to have a more Spirit Driven life. And who doesn't, right? We all could have a little bit more Holy Spirit in our lives. Well, Kathleen, we are down to about the last minute or so of the show. So I want to ask you, where can people not only follow you online, but where can they get a copy of your book?
Yes, through Westbow Publishing Company directly, Barnes & Noble, Amazon. And those would be like the three main places that they could easily have accessibility. And, of course, if they go on to spiritdrivenbychoice.com, that makes it very, very accessible to just click once they read about myself, about the book, and then also about the two very encouraging and positive book reviews that are also available to the readers, to the listeners.
Well, in our last 30 seconds of the show, I just want to make sure that I give you a hearty thank you for coming on and sharing with our listeners and for writing such a thought-provoking book. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me on the show.
And listeners, you as well for joining me for another episode of Modern Living with Dr. Angela. And as always, may the Lord continue to shine his face upon you. May you receive his grace and his mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, be blessed in the Lord. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.